Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I wanted to take a second to talk about really what I think should be the important second half of the game when it comes to kind of analyzing the recent Breakfast Club appearance of Damon Dash. I guess former CEO of Rockefeller Records, current. I don't. Again, as I told you, I don't know exactly what's up with Rockefeller. I'm gonna have to look that up. Um, Damon. Gave some commentary that I thought was a very bold and heroic first step in terms of really waking up the consciousness of black people as it pertains to the importance of ownership. I think that there is an audacity to Damon that isn't borderline notorious. I mean, everyone knows just his style. He kicks the door in and he bursts forward to do things. And here's the thing, you know, you need some of that in order to really do big things. I mean, most of the time when people do big things in the world, they're a little bit bold, a little bit crazy. They're taking risks. Most CEOs that you see out here that are multi-billionaires have had several businesses that have failed. They have, a lot of times your success is based on your capacity to endure embarrassment from failure. A lot of people don't try things because they are afraid to fail. Damon Dash is not in that category. If you know anything about him, and and it's interesting. I just had a conversation that made me reflect a little bit. I talked to one of my friends, Charlemagne the God, who's one of the hosts on the Breakfast Club, and Charlemagne and I talked about the last video I did on Dame. And next week, I guess in New York, I'll be on the Breakfast Club to kind of elaborate on some of this. But I wanted to kind of talk about some of these ideas now with you while they're fresh in my head. And one of the things that we agreed on is that there is a danger sometimes to saying, look, hey, go quit your job. Working for people's for suckers, saving is for suckers. You got to go hard. You got to go get yours, etc. And so what I want to do is kind of clarify some of this so that we can really kind of get past the emotional aspect of economic freedom and really talk about the practical aspect of this. Because again, once again, I'm going to stay, and I think we both agreed on this too. We both have a lot of respect for Damon Dash in terms of the great things that he's done in the world, not just in hip hop, and what he's trying to do for the world. And I think that it's important for him to say the things that he said, in that space, because in case you know anything about the Breakfast Club, it's just probably the most prolific and powerful hip hop space, pop culture space in Black America right now. So I love the fact that he brought that energy to the conversation. I love the fact that he restored manhood to economic empowerment, kind of letting men know, look, to be a man, be a boss, be a true boss. A lot of people don't know what a real boss actually is. As I told you, a lot of these celebrities walk around like they're bosses, but really they're not. They're answering to an overseer. Some of them are really high-paid hoes, and a lot of us still don't know the difference because sometimes we measure someone's success by what kind of car they drive, what kind of house they appear to live in. But you got to look deeper. Do you own that house? Do you own that car? Do you own what's going on in your bank account? What's going on with your investments? What's going on with your long-term wealth building strategy? And the other thing too is that as a wealth expert, I can tell you your wealth is not always measured just by what you have in your bank account right now. It's also measured by the long-term potential of the things that you're building today. Because remember, most great ventures, most multi-billion-dollar ventures that exist in America started off as little seeds. Many of these corporations had owners that went into bankruptcy or borderline bankruptcy. Most of them can tell you. Most of the time, really successful people can tell you a couple of stories at least of when they either failed miserably or when they almost failed miserably. So you have to have a degree of audaciousness in order to be successful. That's just a fact. Now, here's some of what I think needs to be added to the discussion when it comes to Damon Dash. I compare Damon Dash to a Harriet Tubman, an economic version of a Harriet Tubman, to a point. Um, you know, there needed to be somebody on the plantation who says, f this shit. We deserve to be free. We can make it happen. Let's bust through the door, guns blazing. Let's make it happen. Let's fight for our freedom. Let's sacrifice and die for our freedom in order to get there. And that message is necessary because you had a lot of people who were just afraid to confront what was going on with slavery. But if you're gonna go to battle, you have to have a battle plan. And and so I think that where Damon Dash's conversation can be continued is really saying, okay, what's your battle plan in order for you to be successful? What is it that you're going to do on a step by step, minute basis that's going to get you to where you want to go? Emotion is not going to get you to where you want to go. Most of the time, the journey to economic freedom, the journey to entrepreneurship, the journey to being your own boss, it is an incremental journey. It's not something that just happens overnight because you heard an interview and you just said, "I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna make it happen." That's not really gonna get you there per se. Um, so what I would suggest in terms of trying to really get to where you want to get to economically is start number one by doing your homework. Go. There are so many ways, so many classes you can take on how to start your own business. You have to take a class on how to start your own damn business. You have to. If you don't, then you won't know what the hell you're doing. You'll be totally lost. Start with that. Second of all, take that spirit and dig into the spirit of entrepreneurship. You see, here's the thing. Here's the problem with Black America. We don't have enough entrepreneurs to sustain our future economic development. Um, Monica Mehta wrote a book. I want to say it was called The Entrepreneurial Mindset or something like that, where she studied the psychological disposition of people who eventually become entrepreneurs. And she reached out and said, I don't understand why in our research, African Americans have the lowest percentage of entrepreneurs in their community of any other group of people. Less than Asians, less than Indians, less than whites, less than Jews. Everybody. She said, I don't understand it. What is it about the culture that makes you guys afraid to have your own business? And part of the conclusion is that so many Black people are psychologically gun shy because of things that we go through. Trauma makes you fearful, and a lot of Black kids go through a lot of trauma. A lot of us endure abuse, addiction, incarceration of ourselves or our loved ones, our parents. We deal with a lot of these things that make us afraid. And so what happens is, by the time you get old enough to start working for white people, you're literally mortified to do your own thing. You're afraid of being labeled as the bad, dangerous Negro. You're afraid of losing what you got. You're afraid of trying something new. You're afraid, what if I fail? You might have relatives saying, oh, don't do that. Don't give up that good job, girl. That ain't going to work for you. And we got to kind of kill some of that. That like some of that is just, that's not going to get us where we need to go, because here's the thing. We need Black entrepreneurs. We need a nation of builders in order for us to prosper economically. And I'm not talking about just you. I'm talking about your children, your grandchildren, and your great grandchildren. Think about them for a minute. Don't think about yourself. We have to have something that generates long-term economic growth. We've got to plant the seeds in order to grow the trees. And if you measure the quality of a tree based on the size of the seed, you're going to get it wrong every time. So when you plant that little seed, that tree's gonna be the scrawniest little thing in the freaking forest. You're gonna be looking at that like, man, I could be out here, I could be on climbing up somebody else's oak tree and be on top of that. IBM and Google and all, they got the big oak trees. I'm gonna go work for them and just climb to the top of their tree and pretend like it's mine. Well, that ain't your damn tree. That is not your damn tree. You cannot give that tree to your children. You can't even give your branch to your kids because that's not yours. You have to plant something of your own, and I don't care if you work for somebody else. One of our new paradigm principles that we constantly push. And I started off this when we had the thing with Farrakhan, and I've repeated it when we did the thing with Cornel West in New York, etc. Is every Black person in America, every Black child must learn the basics of how to start their own business, even if you work for somebody else. You have to have a backup plan. Being able to start your own business is like it's like knowing how to cook and grow your own food in case the people down the street stop feeding you. And guess who's feeding you right now? Probably white people are feeding you. And again, as I told you, white people don't like you. I mean, let's stop pretending. America lies about racism. We are one of the most racist countries in the world, probably the most racist industrialized nation in the world. We incarcerate more Black men than South Africa did during the height of apartheid. So they don't like you. We have the highest unemployment rate, not because we don't go to school, not because we don't work hard, not because we don't have ambition. It's because white folks don't give us jobs. When somebody's starving you of the things that you need, when you need food, and you're hungry and no one's giving you food, you have to grow your own food. You got to cook your own food. So, so I would say in that spirit, and this is what I communicated to Charlamagne, and we'll talk more about this next week. I'll go to New York for the show. Um, is Damon Dash kicked the door in. He laid out the idea of going to war as a principle, an important sanctimonious principle with which we should all rally around. We need to rally around the idea of economic freedom. I think that is absolutely beautiful. I love the fact that he did that. But I think all of us have to come in and again, this is really, I think, a form of, we need not just people talk about cooperative community economics. We also need cooperative community psychology, cooperative community motivation, cooperative community guidance. So Damon Dash is not the one who's necessarily going to give us every single step of everything we need in order to succeed in every single aspect of life, but he burst that door open so that the rest of us, I think, can come in and chime in and add our 2 cents and make the conversation complete. So you're not gonna hear me diss Dame Dash. It doesn't mean I couldn't find something to diss if I tried. Dame is a complex guy. He has a long history. There are a million things you could point out that where you say, "Oh man, he did this, he did that." But you know what? Right now, I'm looking at the good that he did in the world, and the good that he did is that he could have went on that show and talked about any old ridiculous nonsense imaginable. He could have got into the ignorance, but he didn't. He got into what he felt was a version of empowerment that people need to hear, and so I'm going to back that and just say yes, yes, you are more of a man when you own something of your own. You do, and he's talking about mostly about men, but it applies for women as well. But I think black men have to reclaim manhood. We have been getting our asses kicked as a collective for a very long time. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of self pity. I'm not a fan of waiting around and hoping that the white man does certain things for you that you need to do for yourself. Because once again, if another man is feeding your wife and feeding your children, you're not the man of your house. He's the man of your house. So keep that in mind, and let's take these first steps and let's keep it moving. Just in case you want to know, at financialjuneteenth.com, if you click on the link that says Financial Juneteenth University, we do have some classes that we offer on how to start your own business. I'm going to create something to go with our upcoming film called Resurrecting Black Wall Street, where we've got financial experts really talking about Black Wall Street and the principles that led to the creation of one of the most prosperous black communities of all time, and just how we can parlay those ideas into our own economic progress in 2015, 2016, 2017, and beyond. So don't think about yourself. Think about your kids, your grandkids, and your great grandkids, and ask yourself, in 100 years from now, what things can they be saying about our generation that will make us immortal, that will allow us to live forever? And one of the best ways to live forever is to create a very strong social and economic legacy. If you create values, my grandmother, my beloved grandmother Felicia, she died a year and a half ago. And every time I think about my grandma, I almost start to tear up a little bit because I love her so much. And here's the thing: because of the things that she did throughout her life, and the things that she taught me, she's gonna live forever. I'm gonna rep her. I'm gonna carry her flag until the day I die, and I'm gonna teach my kids to carry her flag too. She was my first finance professor. She didn't buy me toys at Christmas. She bought me savings bonds, which introduced me to the idea of compound interest. Even when I got my PhD in finance, she was not just one of the first people in my graduation. She also was a person I still went to understand practical financial advice. How money works at all levels, because a lot of economic prosperity, if you will, is a function of how you think psychologically. It's not just a function of how much money you got. That does play a part, but that's not the whole part. If you are an idiot and you got a whole bunch of money, then guess what? You're going to be a broke idiot pretty soon. So don't be a broke idiot. And remember also, another thing that's very important about wealth building is that your wealth goes far beyond how much money you have in your bank account or how many material things that you have. Live a wealthy life. Be a wealthy person. Being a wealthy person means carrying a set of values and perspectives that are beneficial to the people that you care about. So you can be a billionaire without having a penny in your bank account. So keep that in mind as you see all some of these fools that we see on TV. Run around thinking that because I got a little bit of money, that makes me a relevant human being. Money does not make you relevant, but never act like money is not power. And as it stands, black people, one thing that we absolutely need to supplement the civil rights movement is we need economic empowerment. We need silver rights, as they say. And so I think it's something we got to fight for. No one will feel sorry for you. No one's going to ever give you equality. You must be prepared to fight for it. You must be prepared to compete. Part of the way you compete is you train yourself. So go take a class on how to start your own business. Like I said, we got the one at Financial Juneteenth, but you don't have to take that one. You can take one from anywhere. Get on the internet, start following podcasts, etc. They're going to help you really get into that mindset, because being a boss, a lot of being a boss comes down to thinking like a boss. If you think like a slave and have the skills of a boss, then you're still going to be a slave. So never think like a slave. Always think like a boss. That's the first step to getting you to where you want to go. And that's all I want to say. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and Financial Juneteenth. And until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. I am gone. Peace.